Welcome you to this February 15th meeting of the Keep Pharr Beautiful Committee here at our beautiful City Hall Commissioners Room. And I will begin with item number 1, call to order, 1A.
Mari Caballero,
Here?
Richard Carranza,
Present.
Romeo Robles Jr.,
Here.
Frank Santana,
Here.
Olivia Ramirez.
Thank you, Cindy. Let us take a moment to put ourselves in the spirit of opening our hearts and our minds to our Lord's words today, please. Lord Jesus, we ask that you send your Holy Spirit, the advocate, the helper, the comforter, the convictor, the one who sustains and strengthens us, the one who is the presence of God living in our midst, right now and in every moment of our lives. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to item 2A, please. The approval of the minutes for January 18th, 2022, regular scheduled meeting.
Madam Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay, we have Mr. Robles with the motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have Ms. Ramirez seconding the motion. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And any opposition? All right, so the motion passes. Minutes approved as read. We move on to administrative item 2B, discussion and action, if any, on funds raised in the Keep Pharr Beautiful fundraiser. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we did have a nice fundraiser last quarter, and it is now time to decide on allocating the funds. And everyone is familiar with that, the amount. And so I'm just going to ask for a motion on the floor to see if there's any ideas or suggestions to put into a motion.
I'll make the motion that we use the difference, the 185 for future tickets or whatever we need it for in the future, and just round it off to 2,000.
Okay, so we have one motion on the floor with Ms. Ramirez asking us to take 185 and just keep it in a kitty for the future, and just use a solid number figure of 2,000. So, any second to that?
Second the motion.
Okay, Mr. Robles seconds that motion, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, being that there's not, then the motion carries. So, just to clarify that again, once again, we're going to use 2,000 for the actual disbursement of help, financial help to education and beautification efforts in the city of Pharr for this year. And the 185 will be kept in a kitty. Okay. Now, are there any suggestions, recommendations, or a motion on the floor to possibly, do you want to do this 50-50, 60-40, or whatever as we see fit? Any discussion, any ideas?
We had, Madam Chairman, we had, I think all agreed that we'd use this for two efforts, and one was education and the other one was beautification. And seeing how this is a good starting point, I move that we allocate half the funds to education and half the funds to beautification. I don't know, and this, well, let me make the motion and then we can go into this discussion.
Okay. Does anyone second the motion for Mr. Robles? Okay, so we've got a motion on the floor, Mr. Robles, and a second by Mr. Carranza. All those, I guess now we just need to open it up for discussion.
Yeah, my point in discussion is if we have a request for money, we're not gonna need for this board to approve the expenditure, are we? Because I think part of what we had discussed when we were talking about a fundraiser, any funds that were raised, I mean, would be used at the discretion of the departments we work with. And a lot of times what happens is that we lose, I guess, the momentum when we're having to wait, for $50 to go
Yeah,
buy,
no.
a shovel or
Right,
something.
right. No.
So I think that if everybody agrees, the departments we work with say, we've got this, it's for education or it's for beautification. Can go and request a check with whatever procedures they have to follow.
Okay. What do you think? Okay. Is it proper to ask counsel or ask? It works that way, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, so to use at their discretion as long as it's education and or
Makes-
beautification.
makes sense.
Very good idea.
And it's a very simple, it's
Very practical.
very,
Because you don't have to waste too much time waiting for that.
Yeah. Especially if they need the item or they need to place the order to get it within a certain time for
Right.
something, for an event or for, okay. Okay. And Ms. Munoz is real good about keeping in touch and letting us know things,
Yeah,
so.
I mean, as long as there's accountability and, I mean, I have no problem with any of that.
Well, does that culminate the discussion then on that? Okay. Then I need all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No opposition? Okay, so then the motion carries. That's how we're going to work that. So that'll be good. Very practical. All right, so then we'll move on to item 2C, discussion and action, if any, on Keep Pharr Beautiful 2022 projects. After meeting with Mr. Sergio Alanis, Parks and Recreation Director, it was shed light on the fact that the city is planning many events, many public events this year. And we had been talking about how do we initiate a project, even a simple project, as something as simple as, plastic-free Pharr, which is just simply all these public events. You always see people walking around with water bottles or beer bottles or Coke cans. So the idea with Keep Plastic-Free Pharr is to try to just earmark all the plastics and try to recover those plastics from going in the trash can, getting them into an itemized trash can and recycling those. So that was one project that we were tossing around. We kind of thought about in working on that Governor's Community Achievement Award application. It was noted there were questions on a youth advisory, or how are we engaging the youth? It's a very important, this application, again, if I remind the public, it's a $200,000 grant that we're vying for. And these are questions that they're asking despite COVID. They're asking, what are you doing to engage the youth? How are you getting them involved? How are you organizing them? And there was one flat out question about youth advisory. So it's very evident to us that we need to do that. And so that might be another project to start developing this quarter. And another crucial question, or part of a question, use the word composting. How, it's like, how are you doing this, and composting how are you providing this in your city? And granted, we don't have the benefit, we don't have the benefit of having our own waste department. We contract out our services. So just like we're doing with recycling, and where the city is doing its part with the recycling program, maybe it's time we look at working at either a community composting or a larger, but these are ideas for projects. Why are we talking about it now in February? Because what happens is that application that we worked on in January, that we all worked on in January, that Ms. Munoz, that Ms. Crystal Medina will talk about a little later in depth. This application is for all the things that were done in 2021. So we got to start now implementing projects, programming, rebranding, whatever it may be, what we're doing, what we want to do. So that way, next January, we can report on what we did this year. So we need to do it. We need to do this now. So that's what was in item 2C, discussion and action in any on Keep Pharr Beautiful 2022 projects. And I like to think that as the months go on and we work on developing, and as the months go on, we're going to maybe tweak and add and to others. But you know, I remember a couple of years ago when we went to attended the last KTB meeting, the Keep Texas Beautiful meeting. They said, don't start with 1 million of them, just start with a couple, and just do that well and then move on. So I'm opening it up, discussion. Any discussion, anything from you all that you might want to add?
It's very evident that many of the communities need to do something about composting because everybody benefits,
Yeah.
not just, city employees and city parks and all that, but everybody who has a yard, has a garden at home will definitely benefit from it.
Yeah.
So I think it is essential that we start something small, but make it grow.
Any further discussion? Any ideas or anybody want to?
Where would we get that from? Like,
There's a lot of information on composting available. There is a lot at the local, at the
cities
county.
do it too?
There's other cities participating in composting, and I'm not, it's an idea, but we need to like commit to something and then try to see if we can grow it, develop it. So that's all I'm saying.
I know Mr. Carranza has a lot of experience with this. On a small scale, Mr. Carranza, what do you, or how do you envision something like that? A citywide or per neighborhood, or what do you have in mind?
Education.
Education. Okay.
Start with that and letting the citizens know what it is that goes into compost, so that instead of and see, this is very important because part of the reason, instead of throwing banana peels or eggshells in the trash that goes into the landfill, it goes into the compost. It goes back to us. So starting with that, and I know that we're always at the extension office, we're always having classes in gardening. And one of the things that people are always asking is, what about composting? Can I compost this? So there's a big need to educate people on composting.
And that would have been a good way to answer, right? When we were faced with that question, we couldn't even answer that. We couldn't even say we're doing composting by educating our public, by just having examples of what, like at city events.
Yeah.
That would be a good way to start.
I was just
I mean-
asking about how he sees.
We just start small, but like start with educating the people, and then maybe later one of the partners can facilitate
A compost pile
compost
or
pile or heap
or we
something
have,
that we can.
and
And
yeah.
And another thing that some cities, and I don't know what our city has, but some cities have chippers for branches on, and those go back into our city parks, for example. Instead of hauling them away, they go in. Our Christmas trees can be chipped and used as mulch throughout the city and make it available. I know a couple of cities locally that make it available to the citizens. Just come on over and pick up a bag full of mulch that you could use from the chips.
I mean, as simple as perhaps we could start one here downtown. the food trucks, between stuff we bring, and then we can say, hey, come and pick up compost,
Yes.
just to the public. You know, when they come to their there's hub market twice a month, bring something to take some compost with. There's a lot of ideas, but right now we just need either, like a motion on the floor to go forth with 1, 2, or 3 projects. And that way we can set the ball in motion and look forward to providing a benefit of fruit, a fruit from this, So I'm going to open it up to see if anyone wants to make a motion.
That will include,
If you like all 3 projects, if you just want to do one, want to do 2, I shared with you ideas that have been kind of brought up in the past, and I shared with you the last 2, the composting and the youth advisory, were things that were definitely on that application. So,
all except for the terminology, youth advisory, pre-COVID, we were working very well with youth.
exactly.
So
And-
I don't think it'd be that much of an effort to just regroup that or regroup,
And just call
rebrand
it,
it,
yeah.
and just say, we get some
Mhm.
students from the various schools and continue with some of the projects that they were working with.
and we have to keep in mind that the youth of our city will constantly be needing to work with community projects. The schools,
Oh, yeah.
the different scholarships, universities require that you have community hours. And so they definitely want to come out and help. in
They're
different
looking for
aspects.
the hours. They're
Yes.
looking for the volunteerism. So the reason I mentioned the 3 was because I saw that capacity to be able to just kind of slide back into that level, that role with the youth, because it was there.
Yes.
And then the composting, it's going to have to be some more of an educational route, something minute. I mean, not minute, but where you start in and you develop it and you massage it and it grows. And then with the plastic-free Pharr, it was more like, okay, we're getting this out of the trash cans. And that, I don't see how I don't know if you've ever seen those cardboard, they're like cardboard containers, and they have just enough space for the water bottle to fall in. And we can, by then, hopefully, because HubFest is around the corner in April, I believe. We could have already engaged some of our youth to say, we're going to spot you at some of these events to make sure that, hey, recycle your water bottle or drop it in here. Or, hey, when you're done with your water bottle, and have some of these throughout the space, the environment that we're in, whether it's downtown City Park or wherever the event may be. So that would be like for Public Works and what they do in measurement, that would help in adding to what they took out of the landfill. So that's what my reasoning for that is. It was impactful in numbers, and it would help them because right now they're doing monthly trash bashes, and they gauge the weight of the trash that is picked up, and then that's when you've heard it, you get the tonnage. So if they could report, and if they can add this program next year, this 1 sentence or 2 lines of, we incorporated plastic-free Pharr at all our public events, and we've been able to remove so many plastic bottles, 1 million or 5,000 or, a number, using 32 volunteers over 8 months, or over, let's say, 15 public events. Those are the numbers that the application is looking for. They're looking for concrete numbers. How did you affect, and how did you engage? How many did you engage? What did you remove? Yeah, the
What
impact.
you
Yeah.
make.
They want it measurable. So that's my thought. So that's our thought.
Well, I definitely think the youth advisory, like I said, we were doing it. We weren't calling it youth advisory, and organize some leaders from the schools, to come in and head that. I don't think that'd be very difficult to do because like I said, 90% of it we're already doing.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of organizing, I guess, a leadership
Mhm.
team for that. The composting, we can put together a flyer or the many ways that we could put it out to the citizens of Pharr. I think those are very doable. And the plastic free Pharr, we could engage students
We've got them
at those
already.
events. And I don't know the cost of those cardboard boxes, but certainly it's something that we could look into and see if we could make it happen.
We could also see if there's grants for that,
Sure.
or maybe partner up maybe with one of the departments to see if they can help us with the cost, or maybe we can get them donated. We need to just say, there's options, right?
Right.
There's options. So could that be a part of beautification,
I think it,
as far as the cost,
I think it rides on both lines.
so
Mhm.
education and beautification. So, all right, well, if there's no more discussion, we need a motion on the floor, please. Anybody?
Madam
We-
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I
sir.
move that we pursue the three projects that we've been discussing, which is youth advisory and organizing a youth advisory committee, including coming up with a flyer on composting and going forward with a plastic-free Pharr, if that's what we want to call it. So I move that we tackle those three items.
So Mr. Robles has a motion on the floor. I need a second, please. A second motion, or a
Second.
second?
I'll say.
Okay, Mr. Carranza seconds the motion. And do we need any further discussion on this?
The only thing is,
It's okay.
I'm really excited about the compost.
I knew you'd be. I knew you'd be.
Needless to say.
It's right up your
But,
alley.
yeah, and it's possible that we could, on this low scale,
On the down
just have workshops, invite the people to come over and, have a presentation on how we can do it, starting from in your kitchen, you do this, and eventually it'll make a big difference.
I got one even better for you. We could tag along when they do community-wide, they do
Yes.
community or neighborhood
Mhm.
functions, and because the city does that.
Yeah.
And we could have a compost demonstration. We could do 4 a year. That's a whole new rebrand right there.
Yeah, but I think it
I like your idea.
there's something that's doable, and I think it'll definitely benefit the community, our beautiful city.
So you see, this is why we need a working board, because it doesn't cost money, but it takes time. But it's things like that, of your skill, and things that we all want to know about and learn and grow it. So, man, I'm excited. So we had a motion on the floor, and Mr. Carranza seconded the motion, and we had further discussion. Now, after all this, are we ready to take a vote? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposition? Okay. Well, being that there's no opposition, the motion passes, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, now we move on to item 2D, announcements from Development Services.
Good evening, Juan Govea for Development Services.
Hello, Mr. Govea.
Well, unfortunately, this past weekend, the weather didn't permit us to do our lawn cutting during Saturday. It rained and kind of put a dent on our side. But I was asked by our Assistant Director, Rodriguez, to talk a little bit about the illegal dumping problem we're having. On the illegal dumping problem we're having in the city. So we're working and trying to get the residents to basically call in either to Development Services
Mhm.
or call Pharr PD at the 911 number and report illegal dumping that's taking place throughout the city. It's kind of becoming, it's growing.
Can I ask you real quick, why do you think that is?
I guess that we need to start educating, reaching out to the schools, probably reaching out to even to the boys clubs if there's any open here in Pharr, any facilities that has basically a chance that we can educate, maybe in the private schools. Try to get the message out there because, nowadays we're finding in the older part of Pharr, all of a sudden you'll see illegal dumping taking place in an area that wasn't there before.
Okay.
So by illegal dumping, you mean people dumping stuff where they're not supposed to?
Exactly. In private property, which is not allowed.
Okay.
Basically, it creates a hardship for the person that owns the property or the people of the surrounding areas. It's coming to the point that sometimes people will just drive up and just drop it off and they don't even live there. The wee hours of the morning. Sometimes on a Saturday, all of a sudden early in the morning or at night, it happens. And it's hard to patrol something like that. Our
You
code
put some
officers
new
are out
signs,
there.
right? You all put some new signs up on
Yes,
that?
yes,
I saw one on Moore,
yes.
but it's facing south. It's not facing, east or west where you're driving. It's facing south.
More than likely, probably somebody moved there or something happened to the sign. We noticed a lot that a lot of illegal dumping is busy taking place now also in the northern part of Pharr.
Really?
So we're trying to figure out a way. We set our cameras. We have sky cams. Basically, they're little trailers with a camera. They're very useful in areas and it deters people from illegally dumping. Now, we can only do so much. That's why we're asking the public to call in. It's
Okay.
very important to call us and let us know where it's
So
taking
once
place.
again, you want them to call you on the, call you through, which ones?
It'll be basically our number will be 402
Okay, 402,
4242.
402, 42, 42.
And just
Or
basically our option number would be probably
how about, you said the 311
the
app?
311 app.
Okay, and what else? You said they could call the PD, but not the emergency number?
Not the emergency number. I know they have a number. You just call police department and just report it.
and
It'll
just
help
report.
us
You
to get to pinpoint where it's basically taking place because it's
Mhm.
hard. I mean,
I've done that.
it's
I've called and not the emergency number, and I mean, I'm witnessing dumping going on there on Moore Road, and I'm calling, and the dispatcher was like, no problem, ma'am. Tell me where it is, and
and illegal dumping consists basically of old refrigerators, appliances,
Oh, yeah.
sofas, beds are being thrown out there. I mean, a bunch of articles that doesn't make any sense. A lot of people do the illegal dumping part, but at the same time, when you look at the area, believe it or not, sometimes you'll find a receipt with a person's name, letter. And but we're trying to work more than anything on how to educate the public. That's our goal. We need to stop this.
I had a friend that dumped. She didn't know she was illegally dumping, and she dumped her Christmas trash bags, out, and she gets a visit by code because they found a receipt or a name or a letter with her address.
Yes.
And so, yeah, a friend of mine, and she goes, do you know? I said, I didn't know it was supposed. I said, don't you have a trash can? Yes, but it was full.
There's been instances where we've seen people dump in commercial dumpsters that belong already to a business.
Yeah.
And we see them go, you need to remove that. That's not your trash can.
Mhm,
That's considered illegal dumping. There's a lot of things that happen out there. Believe it or not,
mhm.
the
Yes.
department helps us a lot. I mean,
Mhm,
they're great all the time.
mhm.
They contribute to the issues that we have out there. And we're all a team. That's the way I look at things.
Yeah.
But to me, illegal dumping is very, I want to say kind of dear to me because it's affecting our eco and affecting the
Yeah.
residents. I mean, it's to the point where we're trying to combat it, but it's
Mhm.
rough. We're just asking for some help. Hopefully we can
Okay.
try to develop a way how can we educate the young through the adults and get the message across.
And it's a shame because they already have it in a pickup or in a car or something. All they got to do is drive to Mako Road, and there's a
Yes.
place where they could legally dump it.
I mean, Trash Bash,
Yeah.
they have it
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, they're
Yeah.
open on the weekends also for a small fee. I mean, they're very helpful. I mean, their department is great. I mean, you can't beat that. We actually, Trash Bash, we recommend people to go there.
Mhm.
If they have a chance, you know, we all try to work together, try to get them to understand, we gotta keep Pharr beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I'm
but
sure those are hefty fines.
Oh, yeah.
And they should be.
they are. They really are. You're looking at about probably, one for littering is 1,500, so I mean, yeah.
Wow. 1,500?
1,500.
I know when the challenge goes through.
So, but we're trying to get it. Hopefully, we can grow to another cameras, and hopefully we can start play some rounds to deter people from illegally dumping
Very
in
good.
troubled areas, of course.
Yes.
But that's what I want to share with you this evening.
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Gobea. I really do. Your information is always very, it pulls at the heartstrings because yeah,
Yes.
it does. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Gobea? Then I thank you, sir, for your service to our community. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you. We move on to Parks and Recreation.
Good evening, Lily Martinez, urban ecologist. And today I just have a few updates. So we did apply to the Mayor's Monarch Pledge for this year again. And we just selected a few action items. The art project.
Okay. I'm sorry. Just a minute. They're having trouble hearing you with the mask on. Do
Okay.
you mind just for a moment? I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No worries. So we reapplied to the Mayor's Monarch Pledge for this year, and we did select 3 action items. Our community art project, which has been in the talks since last year. It just consists of painting a mural at our nature park, the Pharr/Vanguard Academy Birding and Nature Center, at the restroom. So we kind of want to decorate it, put a lot of native animals and plants on it and something like that, just to beautify that area. And then a proclamation and maintenance or addition to butterfly gardens. So I'm hoping we can just maintain the butterfly gardens that we do have at the nature park, the new one that we just implemented last year at the Public Works, and then hopefully some future butterfly gardens at that new area in on Moore Road. And that was pretty much it, but very similar to what we did last year. And then today we did get an update. The city of Pharr has been officially granted Tree City USA status for
Awesome.
2021.
So we are Tree City USA.
Yes.
Again for 2021 or 22?
Yes.
21.
2021. Yes.
2021. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's so awesome. Anybody have any questions for Miss Lily? Very good. Thank you for your service, ma'am, to our
Thank you.
community. Thank you, Miss Lily.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We continue with administrative item 2D, and we move on to Public Works.
Hello, Crystal Medina, Public Works Environmental Supervisor.
Hi, Randy.
So I do have a little bit of information for you guys. Some of the recap numbers for the month of January. We did have almost 31 tons of recyclables that were diverted from the landfill. At our January trash bash, we also had over 10 tons of debris from residents. So they filled up all 3 of our trash cans. We had 148 tires on that day to be taken to us, but in total with the Keep Pharr Beautiful project that they had, the trash bash, the paid ones and the free ones, we had over 1,300 tires that were recovered from the city of Pharr.
I'm sorry. That's mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling.
Yes, and that's just in 1 month.
Where are they coming from? They're multiplying. I'm sorry. God. I'm sorry. I'm gonna cry.
So our next trash bash will be February 26th from 8 to 4. or until the containers are full. So whatever happens first. We always recommend residents get there early just so the containers are they still have room. And then the topic that we have been talking about for a very long time for the GCAA, it is finally complete. It is submitted. It is paid for. It is done. We are completely done with that. Thank God. So it was a really great application. We were kind of going back and forth, making sure that it sounded well, making sure that, you know, we had the right proper information with it. So it was finally able to be turned in. And when I got the go, I went ahead and did it right away.
She did not. She was like, okay, I'm sending it in.
Yeah, and I'm so paranoid about it. I took a picture of when I sent it. I was just making sure, like,
Did you get receipt?
timestamped it. Yes, I did the whole thing just to make sure everything was good. But it is turned in, so that's something that's hopefully in a few months we'll be able to hear back from them and see how well we did. We also, for the Keep Texas Beautiful annual report, that one is due in the mid-March, but while I was working on the GCAA, I was able to use some of that information into the Keep Texas Beautiful annual report. So the annual report is also done, and it was also turned in today. So that is another check off of our list. And then there is a solid waste grant that is it's due on Friday. It's currently done. I'm just pending some signatures from our mayor and from some other department directors. So that's ready to go. And hopefully we'll be able to be awarded the grant. And that will also help some of our operations that we're currently doing.
So you see, there's a lot. There's a lot. All of these lovely people, they do so much.
I'm just excited for the week to be over because then Friday will be over and then I have all 3 checked off.
Yeah. I have to tell you that Ms. Medina submitted that application at 3:00 on Friday. And it's not due until the 17th. So I don't think we've ever turned it in that early, right?
I think we've turned it in maybe like a day or so before.
Yeah.
But
it was like review and change and tweak and
Well,
so
that's a good feeling. I don't.
so she
Yeah.
she was real glad. I mean, and then my understanding, I'll let her tell you, she had, you know, help from the different departments, but there were some key individuals that really helped her, especially at the end. It gets very stressful and it gets very, because she read it probably a million times. And so she needed more eyes and so
I did. I definitely sent emails out just saying, please reread. I need some other type of eyes to look at this because I have read it so many times that I'm looking at it and I think it's great. But sure enough, you know, I did have Miss Melanie. She reached out to me and she had some corrections and some, you know, she kind of reworded things that I had on there, which I was very appreciative towards because, I mean, you know, when I read her response, I was like, okay, why did I even have my response the way I did? So little things like that. Lily was super key in everything that I did. She never got annoyed when I would call her. And I called her a lot. So she was very beneficial to the application. I mean, in code to Mr. Govea, I spoke to Miss Yoli in code and she was super helpful. So Isaac also sent me his responses to the 2 questions. So it was definitely a collaboration of the departments and we were able to get it done. But the feedback was super important. I know I spoke to Ms. Caballero several times and we kind of reworded things, put commas in certain places to make sure it sounded well. So it was good. It was a really great application. So if you guys want to review it, I have it.
Again, thank you so much for organizing it, but because, you know, for organizing the effort and making sure that people got what they needed, you know, because she can't answer all the questions. If you look at it, she doesn't have the answers for all the questions. It depends on all the departments to give her the information because then she makes it up. I mean, so I'm very grateful to the departments that helped out, and especially to those at the end that came through and said, okay, yes, I know you're seeing this a million times, and let me look at it. Let me look it over again. Because they are also doing a million other things. That they don't realize this is an important baby for us, but it's not for us, it's for the community. And it's over $200,000 grant money and then it'd be nice to say next to the Monarchs Pledge and Tree City USA that we were awarded this beautiful grant. It's in and of itself, it's a big deal at the state level. So anyway,
Yeah, we were asked to look at that number 2 in the conclusion, and I took my own advice and I went to the recycling station, but it was one of those days where it was cold and windy, and I sat there for about 10 minutes. I said, I don't think anybody's recycling today.
It happens.
But
you want to tell your idea?
well,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it last time, part of it might be getting feedback from people that actually use it, because like I said, I use the one down here at the police station, and there's all different kinds of people that go. It's not just an elderly person with her little bags of plastic or her little plastic water bottles. I mean, there was one day that I didn't even leave my cardboard because there was no place to put it. There was so much stuff in there. So I know that a lot of people are using it, and to get some of their feedback, I think might be beneficial in the future.
He was thinking, well, maybe we need to get people's feedback to help us answer that question. Maybe for next year,
Yeah.
right? Maybe for next
Maybe,
year, and we'll
maybe.
just do it when the weather's nice. And
Yeah.
well, we live out south, and we all live out south. Maybe you live up north, but
No, but
we'll have. That's an idea.
that center gets used. It gets used.
Or maybe at one of our trash bashes, we can, we'll figure it out. But it was a good idea.
Well, we have had an increase of businesses reaching out to us as far as wanting to begin to recycle. So the message is out there, and a lot of the businesses are receiving it. So part of the grant that I'm applying for the local COG is going to be to kind of help us with that. We're asking for a mini baler to bale aluminum cans to free up our utility trailers to be able to use those trailers at the businesses that produce large pieces of cardboard. So
Very
we
cool.
had already ordered 4-yarders, which is like your basic regular metal trash can. And then we had ordered 8-yarders, 4 8-yarders, which is just double the 4. So we've already placed quite a few of them throughout the city. There's, for example, Rush Equipment on North Cage. We have a drive-through in South Pharr. We have the 2 Family Dollars that are in Pharr also. So the utility trailers will be for like the big businesses that come that produce the big cardboard, stuff that car parts are coming in and things that don't fit inside a regular trash can. So we're hoping with this application, we'll be able to kind of, continue advancing and expanding our operation. So that's what we're kind of hoping for.
Crystal, can you tell the board what is COG? What is a COG?
The Council of Governments, the LRGVDC, which is the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Center. So they are located out of Wesco, and they get funds from TCEQ, who TCEQ gets funds from the EPA. So
TCEQ is?
Yes.
TCEQ
is Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. So they're the ones, it's EPA, which is like the dad, and then the mom is TCEQ, and then they just trickle down. And then, so the Council of Government will be able to give us money that they get from them.
So locally, it's city employees that take care of picking up the cardboard, or is it waste management?
No, it is city employees.
Okay.
It is 5 employees for the entire city of Pharr.
So you see, because our trash cans are picked up by waste management. The recycling centers, everything at Trash Bash, it's Public Works, and they're the employees. I mean, you don't physically do this. So
Sometimes
yes, sometimes. Yeah, it's big, it's huge. It's a lot of work. Yeah. So, wow. Any questions for Ms. Crystal?
So we commend you tremendously for the excellent work you and your departments and other departments have been doing for us.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Ms. Crystal, thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you.
Before I move on to board comments, I wanted to ask Mr. Govea briefly to come up one more time. I forgot to ask you, sir, a question. And I'm sorry.
Yes.
Your neighborhood, so the third weekend is when you do the neighborhood, the community
Cleanup?
cleanup.
Yes.
Do you have a projected location yet for that? But you're gonna do it.
We're gonna try to get it. Hopefully, we still make it on time.
Okay.
We're dealing
I was
with
just,
some other,
yeah. No, I just wondered if there was an announcement that we could make, but right now we'll just leave it pending. No,
yes.
because usually we will kind of alert. It's kind of an alert that
Yeah,
goes
no,
out.
yes, it really helps a lot when we announce it, but right now we're going through, we're working on a big project.
Yeah, not to worry.
But I'll get back to you on
No,
for sure.
not to worry, sir.
Yes.
Then I appreciate it, sir. Again, thank you for your service to our
Yes.
community. Okay, so we move on to item 2E, board comments.
I would just like to, congratulate everybody for, first of all, we had our first project, the fundraiser, and we saw it through. So thank you for everybody that helped there, including the departments that helped us push some of those tickets.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And, I like what you said, Madam Chairman, about being a working committee. Definitely, these three projects that we voted to pursue, the youth advisory, the composting, and the plastic-free Pharr, if that's what we're going to call it, I'm not sure. But there's plenty of opportunity for the board to get engaged.
Oh, yeah.
I know I spent a lifetime working with youth, and certainly if I get asked to work with that, I'd be more than happy to. But I think that is an important thing, because we can sit up here and discuss and approve and make motions, and it doesn't mean that we need to be
Exactly.
giving them more work. It's the committee's responsibility, I think, to look at how we can keep Pharr beautiful, and then pursue those avenues. And along the lines, if the different departments can help or assist, then of course we appreciate that. But I think that we need to keep that in the forefront, that this is a working committee and this is where the work gets done.
The only way that we're going to make a bigger impact is if we do that, and we assist more the programming that's already going on, and we tweak it or rebrand it or help more. And because you already see these departments have more than their share of assignments and work that they're dedicated to do. But I know it doesn't, all the department heads have always offered their assistance, and they'll be there to help us. But we can't just say, oh, we need this done, or we need that, right? But any other comments?
I just want to add that these projects that the fundraiser will enable us to specifically visit with our citizens and provide more education, and we have the information, but we just need to share it and get it to them. And I think we'll now have a wonderful opportunity to do, thanks to the fundraiser that we had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Any other comments? Okay. Well, then we move on to, I'll just leave you with this parting thought before we close, because it is already nearing the hour. So February is upon us, and we think of February, we think of red, we think of love. If you think of the medical field, they say it's Heart Month. But it all reminds us of family, of love, our you know, our spouses, our special someone, our families, our friends. When you think about when you're with those dear people, whoever they may be, where are you? You're in an environment. You're in an environment that could be your home, your yard, at a park, at a compadre, at a comadre's house, at you're in an environment. You're in a public, you know, you're in an environment. So why not, just like we have love and respect and we honor our loved ones, we do the same with our environment. So I challenge everyone listening and everyone here today, let's try every day our very best to recycle something, reuse something, reduce something, from try to make less of an impact on our environment and make a greater impact. Really, you're giving back to your family by leaving your environment in a better place, in a more the way it was naturally supposed to be, instead of full of trash or what have you. I've been walking a lot on the hike and bike trail, and it's another project, but I won't bring it up till next quarter. Anyway, and with that, I leave you with that thought. I just challenge everyone to try to reduce, reuse, recycle on a daily basis, and each one of us would make a huge impact, because together we're better. I mean, you know, we're just better in numbers. But all right, so I leave you with that, and we move on to item number 3, which is adjournment. I need a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting.
Madam Chairman, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, Mr. Robles. I need a second, please. Okay, Ms. Ramirez seconds the motion. Any discussion? And there being no discussion, I will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, being there doesn't seem to be any opposition at this point, the motion passes and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Go out and be very careful, safe, and well. Reduce, reuse, recycle.